Long before the star on the flag, before cowboys rode the plains and oil rigs pierced the earth, there was a vast, untamed land. A land of fire and storms, rivers and deserts, called by many names, but known today as Texas. The story of Texas is not just about one place. It is the story of courage, rebellion, loss, and triumph. It's about how a frontier became a nation, and how that nation became a legend. Chapter 1, The First Texans, before 1500. Thousands of years before Europeans ever saw the Gulf Coast, the land that would become Texas was alive with nations of its own. The Caddo built tall, grass-roofed houses along the rivers of East Texas. They were farmers, artists, and diplomats, trading corn, pottery, and shells across the continent. Farther west roamed the Comanche, masters of the horse, fierce and fast as the wind. In the south, the Karankawa lived by the coast, fishing and hunting with bows tipped in shark teeth. Each tribe had its songs, its spirits, its languages. To them, this was not wilderness, it was home. Chapter 2, The Spanish Arrive, 1519 to 1821. Sound of ocean waves and a creaking wooden ship. In 1519, Spanish explorer Alvar Núñez Cabeza de Vaca was shipwrecked on the Texas shore. He wandered for years among native tribes, becoming a legend, the first European to describe the land's vastness. Spain claimed Texas but could not tame it. For centuries, only a few outposts stood against the endless plains. One of them would later become famous, San Antonio de Béjar. Franciscan priests built missions, teaching Christianity to native peoples. Soldiers guarded small presidios, but the land was harsh, and many Spaniards left. Still, Spain held on, for Texas was a shield, protecting Mexico's heartland from the ambitions of France and England. Chapter 3, Mexico and the Settlers, 1821 to 1835. When Mexico won independence from Spain in 1821, Texas became part of the new nation. But Mexico needed people, loyal settlers to work the soil and defend the borders. So, they opened the gates. An American named Stephen F. Austin led hundreds of families from the United States into Texas. They were called the Old 300. They built farms, towns, and schools, but brought with them something Mexico had outlawed, slavery. Cultural lines were drawn. The settlers spoke English, not Spanish. They prayed differently, dressed differently, and wanted more freedom than Mexico's central government allowed. By the 1830s, tension grew into anger. When Mexican President Santa Anna turned from reformer to dictator, the settlers, now calling themselves Texans, had had enough. Chapter 4, The Spark of Revolution, 1835 to 1836. It began with a cannon. In October 1835, Mexican troops marched to the small town of Gonzales to take back a cannon lent for defense. The Texans refused, raising a white flag with 4 words painted boldly, "Come and take it." Gunfire followed. The revolution had begun. From Gonzales to Goliad, from Béjar to San Antonio, the Texans fought desperate skirmishes. But it was at an old mission-turned fort that their legend was carved in fire, the Alamo. Chapter 5, The Alamo. Wind howls, drums roll slowly. Inside the walls of the Alamo, barely 200 men prepared for siege. Among them were James Bowie, William B. Travis, and a frontiersman named Davy Crockett. Travis wrote his final letter, "I shall never surrender or retreat. Victory or death." For 13 days they held off Santa Anna's thousands. On the morning of March 6, 1836, the walls fell. Every defender was killed. But their sacrifice became a cry that thundered across the plains, "Remember the Alamo." Chapter 6, The Birth of a Republic. Rage united the rebels. Under General Sam Houston, a ragtag Texan army retreated eastward, burning towns to deny supplies to Santa Anna. Civilians fled in terror, a chaotic exodus called the Runaway Scrape. Then, on April 21, 1836, beside the San Jacinto River, Houston turned to fight. His men attacked while Santa Anna's troops napped. In just 18 minutes, the Mexican army collapsed. The Texans captured Santa Anna himself. With his signature, Texas was free. The Republic of Texas was born, proud, poor, and independent. Chapter 7, The Republic Years, 1836 to 1845. Sam Houston became the first president. A flag with a single star waved over the Capitol at Washington on the Brazos. But independence was costly. The young republic struggled with debt, raids, and politics. Still, the spirit was unbreakable. Settlers poured in. Towns grew. Cotton and cattle fed the economy. Yet many Texans still dreamed of joining the United States. They spoke the same language, traded the same goods, and shared the same enemies. After years of debate, the United States finally agreed. Chapter 8, Joining the Union, 1845. In 1845, Texas became the 28th state of the United States of America. But the decision reignited an old fire, conflict with Mexico. Mexico refused to recognize the annexation. The border between the two nations was disputed, the Rio Grande or the Nueces River. In 1846, shots were fired. The Mexican-American War began. By 1848, after bloody campaigns from Texas to Mexico City, the war ended with the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Mexico lost half its territory, and the U.S. stretched from the Atlantic to the Pacific. Texas was now secure, but not yet peaceful. Chapter 9, The Civil War and Beyond, 1861 to 1870. As the United States split over slavery, Texas again faced a choice. In 1861, it seceded from the Union to join the Confederate States of America. Thousands of Texans fought and died for the South. When the Confederacy fell in 1865, the Union occupied Texas. Slavery ended, but bitterness lingered. The years that followed, the Reconstruction era, were harsh. Freed African Americans sought land and rights, former masters sought control. Outlaws roamed the frontiers. The legend of the Texas Ranger grew in these turbulent times. Chapter 10, The Age of Cattle and Oil, 1870 to 1920. After the war, Texas reinvented itself. Cattle drives thundered across the plains, the Chisholm Trail, the Goodnight-Loving Trail, carrying millions of longhorns to railroads in Kansas. Cowboys became heroes of song and story. Then, in 1901, everything changed. At Spindletop Hill, a geyser of oil exploded from the ground, coating men and machines in black gold. The age of the Texas oil boom had begun. Cities like Houston, Dallas, and Fort Worth became symbols of progress. Chapter 11, The Modern Frontier, 1920 to 2000. Texas moved from frontier to powerhouse. Oil funded universities and skyscrapers. The Great Depression hit hard, but Texas recovered through work and war. During World War II, thousands of Texans fought overseas. Back home, factories roared to life. In 1963, tragedy struck. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas. The world's eyes turned to Texas once more. Yet out of every trial, Texans rebuilt. They sent rockets to space from Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed. They built industries, culture, and music that echoed worldwide. Chapter 12, The Texas Spirit, 2000, present. Today, Texas stands as one of the most powerful states in America, in size, economy, and spirit. It's a land where tradition meets innovation, cowboys ride beside tech engineers, oil rigs share skylines with spaceports. The Lone Star still shines, a reminder of a people who refuse to kneel. From the ashes of the Alamo to the fires of Spindletop, from open prairie to shining city, Texas has lived many lives. But one thing has never changed, its pride, its independence, its unbreakable heart. This is Texas, the Lone Star State.